Hello everyone, I am doing a VR to Dani Mystic's My Classics tag, and I have seen a few people do this tag and it looks like a lot of fun. So I started thinking of what my classics would be. These are decks that represent kind of who you are, or you feel that that they represent who you are. So I've seen other people use the phrase like so me. These decks are so me. So it was I spent a few days thinking about it because I felt that this video might end up being similar to the only 10 decks, because those are decks that are also important, right, to us. So sometimes they might represent who we are. So as I started thinking about the decks that would describe my personality and who I am, I realized that my only 10 decks video, at least for me, it's a very aspirational video. A lot of the decks I chose in that video were learning decks, so they represent more who I aspire to be. And I came to that conclusion because I added some of those decks in my list of my classics, like the Quareia Magician's deck, and I decided not to bring it out because I don't really practice magic. So I can't say that that's me, but I aspire to use that deck and become a student of that magical tradition. So these are decks that really, I think, represent more who I am in reality. Although there's nothing wrong with the aspirational us either. That's just a reflection for me. So the first one that I want to share with you is the Tarot of Trees by Dana O'Driscoll. And I got this one a long time ago. It was one of my very first like indie decks that I purchased. I had the app for the longest time. I loved it. I think this is the third edition. And I'll just flip through a few of the cards. I love that it's small for my small hands, and I love the colors. It kind of follows a Rider-Waite-Smith style, but with trees. And each suit has a different season that it represents. So this is one of my favorite decks, and I feel like it does describe who I am because I love trees, and I've loved trees for a very long time. And I do find that I connect a lot to trees. I have a lot of trees here in my backyard, and I just love learning about them, watching them grow, watching them change. So this is a good deck to connect with trees. And there's a few other tree decks I have seen which are on my list, but I haven't actually purchased. I also love just the vibrant colors. It feels very whimsical. So that's one of the reasons why I picked this deck. The other, they're not in order, I'm just grabbing them here randomly. I felt like I should include a Rider-Waite-Smith deck because it's the system that I use to read. And I chose the Everyday Tarot by BD Tarot because I really love the colors in this deck. And it's one deck that I use a lot when I'm doing readings for people. I like the simplicity of the design. I like the directionality. But I mostly like the simplicity. I feel like the limited color palette helps me tune into my intuition better. So I really enjoy using it, and I get really clear messages from it. So this is so me because I use it a lot. And it's the one Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I chose to include. I think I put it in the wrong way. The other deck I chose is the Story Medicine Tarot by Jessica Sinchuk. This one I picked because of the story medicine part, because part of my personal practice or my belief is that stories are medicine, and because the tarot is a storytelling tool, it is medicine as well. This deck is really deep. I love the artwork. There is nudity in the deck. This deck also helps me connect with the wild woman archetype, I guess. The cards are really large, so it's pretty good as a like an altar card. Like you would pull one card and just kind of reflect on it. There's all different body types. I just really also love the vibrant colors of it and just the stories that it tells. So this is the Story Medicine Tarot. I have a few storytelling decks. I didn't bring out all of them, but they would all be like if there's a storytelling deck, that is a deck that I feel is very me, so I would gravitate towards them. So I'm gonna show this one together with another, the Good Tarot. So the reason why I chose these two is because I strive to have a balance of light and dark in my practice, but also in my deck collection. So I'll do the Deviant Montero as the dark side. And I really like this deck. It's very different, and it can be shocking to some people, so I don't use it to read for others. I use it for just for myself. So it has like a Rider-Waite-Smith style, but it's also different at the same time. And I think it's actually a really good storytelling deck as well. So that's one of the reasons why I also like it. But I chose it to highlight in this video as the striving for balance between dark and light. This is the only deck that I have by the creator Patrick Valenza. I've always loved looking at the other ones that he has created, but I just have not purchased any of them. Maybe in the future. So I chose the Good Tarot, as I mentioned, to signify like the light side of my practice. This deck is really nurturing and is very, very like positive. So anything bad like the Devil or the Death card or the Tower, they have been changed to be more positive. But I think it's very gentle, and sometimes you just need a gentle deck that will help you through a rough patch. Sometimes we don't need like the sharpness or tough love that the Deviant Moon might give us. So I also really like the colors in this one, like the greens and the aquas and the fiery reds. Yeah, so that's the Good Tarot, representing the balance of light and dark to my personality. And since I think one deck that is kind of like a good mixture of light and dark is the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. And I picked this one because I find that I really identify with the deck, like in terms of like my practice, my spiritual beliefs. My practice tends to be very earth centered, but also cosmic. So I feel like the Dreams of Gaia has this way of looking at earth energies, but because it's the Dreams of Gaia, it has this like mystical, almost like otherworldly way of looking at Gaia energies. So that's why I picked it. So for example, like the earth suit is very earthy, but then there's like the water suit that's very for me, I know they're supposed to be fishes, but they look very extraterrestrial. Then there's like the dragons, which are things that are they are earth creatures, but they're like mystical and magical. So this is kind of how I see the earth energies that I interact with in my spiritual path, and that is why I chose this deck. There's another one that I was going to bring for this same reason, and that is the Wildwood Tarot for the earth energies. But that one has more of a Celtic origin, and I don't really identify or practice the Celtic nature based spiritual path. So this one I feel like it's more accessible to me in my own path. Yeah, so that's why. And as I mentioned, for me it also has like a good balance of light and dark, not just in the color but in like the messages that you get from the book. This is a really awesome guidebook, and I highly recommend this deck. This was one of my if I could only keep 10 decks, I would keep this one. The other one that I chose for my classics is the Dream Dust Shamanic Tarot. It's been a while since I opened it, and it's at the bottom of the pile, so it's getting kind of scruffy. So this one I picked to symbolize my love for color. I love colorful decks. I love working with color, and I picked a different one also to show that color connection. I also picked this one for the abstract art, which I feel describes my my ability or my interest in not just following like systems blindly, but being able to be flexible and explore different things. Reading an abstract deck, I think really helps tune in with our intuition, and as I mentioned in another video, with our more feminine side of our brain, the creative side of our brain. So this is why I picked this deck, and I got very lucky. I bought it. It's a damaged deck, so the creator was having a sale, and I got it for like a steal because it was some of the cards were damaged. I do not mind damaged cards. Some are sticking together. I'll have to separate those a little more gently. Yeah, so this is the Dream Dust Shamanic Tarot. I'm actually gonna leave it out so that I can look through the deck. I wonder if some of the cards are sticking together because it's getting hotter. So just put it off to the side. This video is getting kind of messy. The desk is getting messy. So the other one that I mentioned for color, this is an oracle deck. I did not bring too many oracle decks as I'm still kind of new to working with them. I love the inside of the box, and yellow was actually a color that I did not like. I never had anything yellow. No clothes, no nothing. There was yellow. But now I do try to be more intentional with bringing yellow things into my life because Yellow is the color of the solar plexus chakra, which has to do with willpower and confidence, and I know I need more of that in my life. So this one, I just love the colors again. Even though there's pictures of things that are the specific color, if I could own all the color decks, I would. Sadly, this is the only one I have right now, but there's a few others that are on my list. And I just love working with color, and they're so beautiful. And then to know that you can tap into like the energy of the color and use color to help you in your day-to-day life, it's just very magical. Let's see, we are down to 3 decks. And hopefully this video, I have been going kind of fast. I guess I have 2 Oracle decks. I chose the Sacred Creators Oracle because for me, creativity is really important. Creativity is kind of like my spiritual practice. It's a way that I experience my spiritual practice. It's one of my values. So this one is, I know there's like a couple of other creativity decks. So those are also decks that I tend to gravitate towards. I only have this one right now, but I would love to have the creativity deck by Monty Farber and Amy Cerner, I think is their name. And this one is not just creativity, look at all the colors. So that's like a bonus. Yeah. So this one kind of covers 2 checklist items, the colorfulness and the creativity. Then I also chose the Jade Oracle. This one for me just represents my heritage, being born in Mexico and trying to connect with those ancestors and deities. This one is a newer one to me, but I think that it's part of who I am. It describes a part of who I am. And again, if I could have all the decks that have pre-colonized images, I know there's a few others, I would definitely get them. and the artwork is also really beautiful. So that is the Jade Oracle, el Oráculo Jade. And my last deck is one that kind of represents a side of me that people don't get to see on YouTube. These are the cloud cards from the anime Card Captor Sakura. I am a very avid anime watcher, and I don't have, this is the only anime oracle deck I have. I know there's like a couple of manga decks. I have not purchased them, but there's like the Avatar, the Last Airbender, there's a tarot deck made out of that show. Some people might not consider that show anime, but I would love to have that deck in my collection. And I think, at least as far as I know, this is the only show that has like a full set of cards. Persona 5 also had some tarot cards. I don't have those. But yeah, this is a part of me that people might not know, that I love watching anime. And that concludes my classics. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you have made a video to share your classics, please let me know in the comments. I would love to watch it. And thank you for tuning in.